You are standing on a hillside on an island where it has not rained in 8 months. The ground is cracked. The wind is dry. There is no river anywhere on this island. Not one. No lake. No well on this hill. And the family whose house sits just below you has never once paid for water. They catch it. Every drop that has ever fallen on this land, they catch. With a low wall of stone laid along the slope and a tank cut down into the rock beneath the house. The whole system starts for about the price of a barrel. My people have done it for generations on the driest islands in the Atlantic. No well, no pump, no water bill, just a wall, a tank, and a roof that finally does its second job. I grew up drinking rain that my grandfather had caught the winter before. There was a cistern under his house on the island, cut down into the volcanic rock, and when the first real rain of the year came, you could smell it filling. That sweet, mineral smell of water on dry stone. We knew, to the month, how long it had to last us. Not a drop that we could keep was ever allowed to run away. For a long time, I believed you needed a river to have water. You do not. What you need is to stop throwing away the rain you already get. Before this is over, I am going to show you the exact system. The barrel, the wall, and the one mistake that turns the whole thing into a mosquito farm, and how to set it up on any ordinary house with a roof and a patch of yard. And I will tell you what replaced it, and why, before we finish. This works on the house you already own. A renter can start with a single barrel this weekend. No well, no permit, nothing torn up. Let me start with the number that should make you angry. Every month, or every quarter, a bill comes for your water. For most American households, it runs into the hundreds of dollars a year, and in my lifetime, it has gone one direction only, which is up. You pay it without thinking, because what choice do you have? Water comes from the pipe. The pipe comes from the utility. The utility sends the bill. Now here is the part that should make you angry, and you can watch it happen the very next time it rains. Stand at your window in a storm and look at your roof. All that water hitting it is clean. It is free. It fell out of the sky and landed on something you already own. And where does it go? Into the gutter, down the downspout, straight into the storm drain, and away as fast as the pipe can carry it. Gone. And then, a week later, in the dry heat of July, you drag a hose across the yard and pay the utility for water to pour on the very same ground the rain ran off of. Let me put a number on what you are letting go. A rough rule, and you can check it yourself. For every inch of rain that falls on 1,000 square feet of roof, roughly 600 gallons of water run off. 600 gallons. From 1 inch on a modest roof. A house that gets a few feet of rain across a year is shedding tens of thousands of gallons. A backyard swimming pool's worth, and then some. Down the driveway and into the drain, every single year. And the cruelest part is the timing. Your water bill is highest in the summer, when you are watering the lawn and the garden the most. And that outdoor watering can be a third, even half, of a household's water in the hot months. That is the exact water that never needed to come from the pipe at all. That is the water the sky keeps dropping on your roof for free, that you keep sending to the drain, right up until the day you turn on the hose and pay for more of it. You are not short on water. Your house is throwing a small river away, on purpose, while you pay for a replacement out of the pipe. On my island, there was no pipe to fall back on. If you let the rain run off, you did not drink. So nobody let it run off. That is the whole difference between there and here. Not that we had more water. We had far, far less. We simply refused to waste the little that fell. Let me take you back to the island, so you can see what refusing to waste it actually looks like. Cape Verde is a scatter of volcanic islands out in the Atlantic, off the coast of West Africa, and it is dry in a way that is hard to explain to a person who has always had a tap. There are no rivers, not small ones, not seasonal ones, none. In a normal year, the rain comes for a few weeks, if it comes at all, and then the sky closes for 8, 9, 10 months. A whole island, living on what falls in a handful of storms. So my people built the island itself to hold water, the way you would build a bucket. On the hillsides, where the rain used to sheet straight down the slope and off into the sea, they laid long, low walls of stone along the contour of the land, following the level, not the fall. We build them by hand, dry stacked, no cement. When the rain comes, those walls stop it. Instead of racing downhill, the water piles up behind the stone, slows, and sinks into the ground right there, where the crops are. And on the smaller scale, around a single tree or plant, you build what we call a half moon, a little curved wall of stones, like a cupped hand held open to the uphill side, catching the runoff and holding it right at the roots. And under the houses, cut down into the rock, were the cisterns. Every roof was a catchment. When it rained, the water ran off the roof, down a channel, and into a tank in the ground, sealed, cool, dark, where it kept for months. A family measured part of its wealth in how much water it had put away. My grandfather could tell you, in the dead middle of the dry season, exactly how many weeks of water were left under his floor. I remember the first rain of the season as a kind of holiday. The whole village would listen for it, and when it finally came, the children were sent running to make sure every channel and every mouth of every cistern was clear, so that not one drop was lost between the roof and the tank. You did not celebrate the rain because it was pretty. You celebrated it because it was the whole year's water arriving at once, and you got a single chance to catch it. That is a way of seeing water that a person with a tap never learns, and it is the exact way of seeing it that turns a roof into a reservoir. And on the highest ridges, where the clouds drag across the peaks, some communities even hung great nets to catch the fog. The wind pushes the cloud through the mesh, the water beads on the threads, and it drips down into a tank. Whole gardens, watered out of the open air. I will not spend long on that one, because you do not have a fog ridge in your backyard. But I want you to see how far my people went. They caught water from stone, from roofs, from the ground, and from the clouds themselves. Now hold all of that up against your house. You live somewhere that actually rains. Real rain, many times a year, falling on a good roof and a real yard. And most of it, right now, you are sending straight down the drain. If a family can catch enough to live through a 10-month drought on an island with no river, then your roof, in a place with weather, is a fire hose you have left running into the gutter. Back home, you did not buy water. You caught it. It was not clever. It was just what a roof was for. So here is the clever part, and once you see it, you will never watch a rainstorm the same way again. The rain is not the scarce thing. The rain is generous. Even in a dry climate, it arrives in real amounts when it comes. The enemy is not the sky. The enemy is the slope. Water that is allowed to move fast is water you lose. Water that you make wait is water you keep. That is the entire secret, and everything else is just a way of making the water wait. There are two ways to make it wait, and a good system uses both. The first is to capture it, to put a container under the place where the water is already gathered for you, which is the bottom of your downspout. Your roof does not just get rained on, it collects. Every drop that falls on that whole roof is funneled down to a few downspouts, so at the bottom of that pipe, in a storm, you have a real gush of water. Put a barrel there, and you are not chasing scattered raindrops around the yard. You are standing at the mouth of the little river your roof already made, holding a bucket. The second is to infiltrate it, to slow the water crossing your yard so it soaks into the ground instead of sheeting off toward the street. This is the half moon and the contour wall brought into your backyard. A shallow trench and a low mound on the downhill side of a garden bed catches the runoff, holds it in a puddle for an hour, and lets it sink down into the soil, into the very ground your plants drink from. You are filling an underground tank you cannot even see, the soil itself. And that underground tank is bigger than any barrel you could ever buy. Good soil, deep and full of life, holds an astonishing amount of water, far more than a drum in the corner of the yard. and it holds it right where the roots can reach it, for free, with no container to buy at all. The barrel is for the water you want on hand today. The soil is for the water you want in the bank for the dry weeks. Here is the whole thing the way I would say it to a child. You are not making water. You could not make a single drop if you tried. You are catching a small river that already falls on your house, for free, every time it rains. A river that right now runs away in an afternoon and leaves you paying for more. Capture what the roof gathers. Slow what the yard would shed. Make the water wait. That is the whole system. Now let me show you how to build it for about the price of a barrel and a bag of gravel. There are 3 moves, and you can do the first one this weekend. Move 1 is catch the roof. You want a barrel or a tank at the bottom of a downspout. The cheapest honest version is a food-grade barrel, the blue 55-gallon kind, which you can often find used for $10 or $20 if you look around. Check what is near you, but do not pay new appliance money for a plastic drum. You cut the downspout and root it into the top of the barrel through a screen. And the screen matters. I will come back to why. One good storm can fill a barrel like that off a single downspout. From the bottom, you fit a spigot and a hose to the garden. To give you a sense of it, even a small section of roof, 500 square feet, sheds enough in a half-inch of rain to fill a 55-gallon barrel to the brim and keep going. You will be surprised how little rain it takes. The first time you watch one ordinary shower fill a barrel you spent $15 on, you start looking at every downspout on the house and doing arithmetic. Now, the part almost everyone gets wrong, so listen closely. A barrel fills up faster than you think, and then it overflows. And if you have not planned for that overflow, it dumps straight down against your foundation. And now you have traded a water bill for a wet basement. So before you catch a single drop, you fit an overflow near the top of the barrel, and you run that overflow away from the house, out into the garden, into a low spot, anywhere but against the wall. Catch what you can use, and send the rest somewhere useful. Never against the foundation. Move 2 is slow the yard, the half moon, in your own backyard. Find where water runs across your property in a storm. There is always a path, usually toward the street or the drain. On the downhill side of a garden bed, or straight across that runoff path, you dig a shallow trench along the level of the land, along the contour, not down the slope. And you pile the soil you dug out into a low mound on the downhill edge, and you line it with a bag of gravel or a row of stones to hold it in place. That is it. That is the half moon my people build around a tree, shrunk to fit a flower bed. When it rains, the runoff hits your little wall, spreads out, puddles, and soaks into the bed instead of running to the curb. You have just watered your garden with water that used to leave your property for good. A bag of gravel and an afternoon. Move 3 is scale it, for anyone who wants more than a garden's worth of water. Link 2 or 3 barrels together with a short pipe near their bases, and they fill and drain as one. Or set a larger tank up on a stand, or on higher ground, so that gravity carries the water down to the garden through the dry weeks with no pump at all. The very same idea as the cistern under my grandfather's house, only above ground and bought at a store. The bigger the tank, the longer into the dry season your garden keeps watering itself off the last storm that came. A few small things make the whole system work better, and each one costs a few dollars. The first is a first flush diverter, a simple length of pipe that catches and throws away the first gallon or 2 coming off the roof, the dirtiest part, the one that carries the dust and the bird mess, so that what reaches your barrel is cleaner. The second is how you get the water back out. A soaker hose, or a length of drip line laid along the garden bed, wastes far less than a sprinkler because it lays the water straight at the roots instead of throwing it up into the hot air to evaporate. And the third costs almost nothing at all, a thick layer of mulch, wood chips, or straw spread over the beds. Mulch is a lid for the ground. It stops the sun from stealing back the water you just worked to put into the soil, so every gallon you caught lasts days longer between storms. Catch it, sink it, and then cover it so it cannot escape. Now the mistakes, because this is exactly where people quit and then blame the rain. The first mistake I already handed you. No overflow plan, water pouring against the foundation. Fix that one first, before anything else. The second mistake is leaving the water open. Still, open water in the sun grows algae and breeds mosquitoes within a few days. So you keep the barrel covered, and you keep that screen on the inlet. The screen keeps the leaves out, and it keeps out the mosquitoes that would otherwise turn your good idea into a nuisance the whole street complains about. Covered and screened. Always. The third mistake is digging your swale on the wrong line, down the slope instead of along it, so the water just runs through it and keeps right on going. Along the contour. Along the level. That is what makes the water pool and sink instead of pass on by. And one more honest word, because I will not sell you something that is not true. The water you catch this way is for your garden, your lawn, your washing, your outdoor life. It is not drinking water. Rain off a roof picks up dust and grit, and whatever the birds have left up there, and making it truly safe to drink takes real filtering and treatment that is well, beyond what I am showing you today. So use it the way it is meant to be used. On the ground, not in the glass, unless you have properly treated it. On my island, we treated our cistern water with great care because our lives depended on it. Yours does not have to. Yours only has to keep the garden green without the meter running. And think about everything that water can do without ever going near your drinking supply. It waters the vegetable beds and the flowers. It keeps the lawn alive through a dry spell. It washes the car and the dog and the muddy boots by the door. It tops up a pond. It rinses the tools and the deck. Every one of those is a gallon you used to pay the utility for, now coming off your own roof for nothing. Add it up. A used barrel, a bag of gravel, a screen and a length of overflow pipe, a handful of dollars and a weekend against a water bill that climbs every single year. That is the trade. And like the cooling, you do not do it all at once. Put one barrel on one downspout this month and watch it fill in the first storm. That alone will change how you see rain for the rest of your life. Add the half moon to the garden next. Add a second barrel when you find one. Each piece catches a little more of the river your house is already handing away. So if every house once caught its own water, what happened? Why does everyone you know pay for rain that already falls on their own roof? Nobody outlawed the cistern. Nobody proved it wrong. It was replaced, quietly, and for the usual reason. Through the last century, cheap water arrived in a pipe, brought in from reservoirs and rivers miles away, and metered at the house. And at the same time, towns built storm drains to rush rainwater off the streets as fast as they could to stop the flooding. Both of those are useful things, on their own. But together they trained a whole country to do something genuinely strange, to buy water from a pipe and to throw away the free water falling on the roof, on purpose, at the very same time. And here is the thing about water from a pipe with a meter on it. Somebody is paid for every gallon. A barrel you fill for free off your own roof is a terrible business. A meter that ticks every time you water the tomatoes is a wonderful one. So the pipe got built into every house, and the drain got built to carry the free half away, and the cistern got filled in and forgotten. And you have been paying for that arrangement twice ever since. Once on the water bill, for what you buy from the pipe, and once in the quiet cost of the thirsty lawn and the garden that always seems to need more, because the free water that should have soaked into your ground got flushed to the street instead. Not banned, not disproven. Just replaced by a pipe with a meter and a drain built to carry your rain away before you ever get the chance to catch it. Now the objections, because I have heard every one of them. It barely rains where I live, you say. Then every drop matters more, not less, and you are exactly the person this is for. Even dry places get sudden, heavy downpours, the kind that run straight off hard-baked ground, and a barrel and a swale catch that burst and hold it through the long dry weeks that follow. My island barely rains either. That is the whole point of it. I have a tiny yard, or I rent, you say. Then you do the small version, and it is still worth it. One barrel on one downspout offsets a real share of your summer watering, and it needs no digging and nothing screwed to the house. A renter can set it up and carry it to the next place. Skip the swale. Keep the barrel. And someone always asks, will my neighbors or my HOA have a problem with it? A tidy, covered barrel tucked behind a downspout is a hard thing for anyone to object to. The trouble only ever comes from the open, green, buggy barrel left sitting in the front yard. Keep it covered, keep it screened, keep it neat, and it is just a rain barrel. The kind your grandmother's mother kept by the back door and never thought twice about. A couple more come up every single time. Will it freeze in winter? Yes, so in cold country you drain the barrel and disconnect it before the first hard freeze, and reconnect it in the spring. The rain you really want is the spring through fall rain anyway, the rain that feeds the growing season. And will it hurt my roof or my gutters? No. You are not touching the roof at all. That water was already running down that downspout. You are only catching it at the bottom instead of letting it splash onto the ground. Nothing about your roof changes. You have simply put a bucket where the little river already comes out. So stand with me at the window again in the next storm and watch your roof for a minute. Watch all that clean water gather and pour and run away down the drain. And then picture a single barrel at the bottom of that downspout, filling while the meter down in your basement sits perfectly still. The water was never scarce. The sky has been generous your whole life. Your house was simply built to throw the rain away, to buy from a pipe and drain the free water off, both at once, and to call that normal. It was never normal on my island, and it does not have to stay normal at yours. You already own the roof. You already get the rain. All you are missing is the barrel, the little wall, and the bit of sense to make the water wait. Do one thing for me before you go. Go and look up what your water costs at the peak of summer, the month you are watering the yard the hardest, and put that number in the comments. I want to see, state by state, what people are paying for water that is falling on their own roofs for free. If you are the kind of person who believes free rain should not run down the drain while you pay for water out of a pipe, then you already know what to do. Subscribe. Because next time, I am going to show you how an island that imports almost everything it eats still kept food edible for months with no fridge, no freezer, and no power at all. The salt and sun system my people have used for as long as anyone can remember. The grocery store will not tell you that one either. There is a reason, and I will show you.